Why, good evening. Pastor Mike Salmon here, and I'm here with my lovely wife, Suzanne. Hi, darling.
Hello, guys. How are
And
you?
we are in our marriage series, going over the five love languages in reference to, the different five love languages that we're talking about. This is a book from Gary Chapman, and Gary Chapman came out with the five love languages. Fantastic, fantastic book. Definitely recommended,
Yes.
and been advising those who have been part of Harvest to go back into the five love languages on the internet and go for the quiz, because there is a quiz for the five love languages, and the quiz kind of gives you a little bit of heads up of what it means with having the five love languages to be married. What is your love language? It kind of, that's a good advice. Like, what is your love language?
Right.
What love language do you have? What love language does your spouse have? Things
Right.
like that. So
Yeah. And
definitely,
if you end up getting the book, in the book it has it actually has a bunch of chapters. It's not just the chapters on the different love language. It has 13 chapters, and then at the very end it has a question, so you can answer questions. There's a a questionnaire for him and a questionnaire for her,
yeah,
and then you can tally your results and get your answers there as well.
yes, yeah.
So if you do get the book, which I do recommend reading the book, it is a very, very good book.
Yeah, and my advice also to you is go on the internet if you don't have the book, or you're not getting, or you get the book, and then also go through the quiz, because the quiz has it asks you the same questions to figure out where you stand with the love language. What is your love language? What's your spouse's love language? Things like that, and then share with one another what your love language is. Okay,
Amen.
we talked about how. Go ahead.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
do you have a chat box somewhere or?
Oh yes, I do. I think I do. Here we go.
Okay.
All
Just
right,
making
yeah. And
sure.
if you are on and you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask the questions. We'll have it on there, and we'll try to answer the questions as they come. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So we talked, and oh, sorry, wrong one. There we go.
And we disappear.
That's right. And these are the five love languages.
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
So five love language. The first one is words of affirmation.
That's right.
We do have a video on that, so we are breaking them up so you can see them. We do have a video called Words of Affirmation. These are the love language of words of affirmation is your spouse talks or likes words. Words affect them. So they're like, oh, you look pretty, you look gorgeous, that might be a love language,
Right.
okay? Or, you're so handsome, or thank you so much for what you do for us. And, so words speak to someone's love language. The other one is acts of service. Acts of service is
Things you do for someone.
things you do for someone, yeah. So the first one's like, your coffee is delicious. The second one would be, I made you coffee. Okay, so I made you coffee, or I cleaned the house, or I did the dishes for you, honey, or I did, or for you, but I did the dishes,
Well, it's a
or,
service that goes over and beyond.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it is you have the normal every day, but it's a service that goes over and beyond.
yeah,
Something to help your spouse out. That usually speaks their language.
yeah. I went shopping, I picked up this for you, or I did this, or I did that for someone else. Kind of active service. I cleaned your car, washed your car. Kind of a service towards towards your spouse. The third one is receiving gifts. Again, these are videos we already have. Words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts.
That's right.
Maybe your spouse, and this one is here's coffee. So it's more like a gift. Here, I got you coffee. Here's a coffee from me to you, kind of a gift. So that's gifts. So again, three words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts. Today, we're going to talk about quality time. But before we go on, it's very important that you know your spouse's love language, because if you know your spouse's love language, you deposit love into your spouse's love language, okay, or into your love bank.
That's right.
Okay, everyone has a love bank, and what happens is, and we've seen it. Suzanne and I, we've been married over 21 years. We have seven daughters over 21 years. Let's just say, where do you get the book? Hi, Lorraine, how are you? I don't have no other, but it could be good to know when I do get a mate. That's true, Lorraine. And Lorraine, just also one other thing I do want to let you know is it's not only when you get a spouse. This love language can be worked anywhere.
Right.
People have different love languages.
Right.
And it could be a friend, it could be a coworker, it could be someone you know. So your kids like children, have a love language.
That's right.
Children's love language is more like quality time and gifts. Is usually kids' love language. I can't tell you how many times, especially quality time, where a parent will work so hard. They'll go out and they'll work, they'll labor, they pay all the bills, they get all the food, they do all these things. They may even give their kids, gifts and everything. And the kids, you ask the kid what happened, and they feel unloved. And you're like, why don't you feel loved? And you're like, because my parents never spend time with me.
Right.
So that's their love language. Their love language is, I don't care about the gifts. I don't care about all this. I just want to spend time with my mom or dad. So their love language is quality time.
Right.
Okay. So it's kind of like that. So people have different love language. So you may have a granddaughter, grandson. You may have a daughter, siblings that have that type of love language. You need to figure out what that is, and if you can figure out what their love language is, you're able to apply that love language to your relationship.
And having 7 daughters, I will say a lot of our daughters, their love language is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
If you have girls, just remember, girls like to hear those words affirming them. So, you've got to figure out what they are, because when you figure out what they are, you can figure out whether you're depositing or whether you're withdrawing from their love banks.
Yeah.
Not only in a marriage, but even with your kids.
Yeah.
So that you live in a state of you stay in the black, not the red.
That's right. In the love bank when you're depositing, okay?
That's right.
What happens is if you'd make more withdrawals than you do deposits, just like everything else, your love bank is empty. And that happens when a couple have been knocking heads too much, or the relationship, there's been more withdrawals, more fights, more arguments than there is more love. I mean, not that relationships don't get into arguments or stressful times or intensities. Right. It's just that there's more of that than there is deposits.
That's right.
And when that happens, your love bank is empty. It's more like, why are we together? All we're doing is fighting. All we do is fight. There's no good in our relationship. And if there's no good, nothing being put in there that's good, then, and that's all that's being taken out is all the good and put in bad. That's what you end up with an empty love bank. And
that's right.
That's where people say, well, I fell out of love. I love you, but I'm not in love with you.
That's right.
Because they love you, but they're not in love because the bank is empty.
Right.
And it's when you go bankrupt, it's very, very difficult to restore that. It takes so much, because what happens is, just like in the bank, you go to cash a check that's $20 and you don't have $20 in there. So here's what ends up happening. You now have to pay the $20 for whatever you purchase, plus the bank's fees of $35,
$35,
plus the merchant's fees of $35.
Right.
So you end up working double hard trying to restore. Yeah, 3 times trying to restore. You have to pay back the $20 plus the merchant fees plus the bank fees of insufficient funds.
That's right.
Trying to get that back, trying to restore yourself back to square one.
That's right.
So our advice is always to people, don't let it even get there. If it gets there, it's so hard. Not that it's impossible, but it's so difficult. It takes a long time to get that back. And there are things that just immediately empty banks. Right. Infidelity sometimes empties banks. When one spouse or other becomes infidel. When there's infidelity in a marriage, that drops the bank. I mean, that's like a straight withdrawal sometimes, and that takes a long time. When there's mistrust, something, stealing or done something that offends the spouse in some way, that just really drops the bank. And sometimes it takes a long time, years sometimes, to restore back the bank to where it was. Okay, so be very, very careful that you do not let that love bank drop. Okay,
That's right.
all right. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about quality time, and we are on live. So if you have any questions or anything on there, let us know. Okay, so. All right, quality time. All right. We're going to let Suzanne do some reading here. There we go.
Awesome.
Okay, quality time. There we go.
All right. Every couple needs quality time together in order for the relationship to grow and to develop. But what happens when one partner's love language is quality time? How does that desire for time spent together impact the relationship, especially when hectic lives get in the way?
That's right.
Which is very true. I mean, life is busy.
Yeah. And especially if the other partner's quality time and you have a very busy schedule,
Right.
it becomes very difficult.
It does
It
become
does,
difficult.
you know.
Here's a closer look at how expressing the love language of quality time can not only improve your relationship, but also show your quality time partner that you are fluent in their love language.
That's right.
What is quality time? When it comes to Gary Chapman's 5 love languages, quality time is the one that centers around togetherness. It's all about expressing your love and affection with your undivided attention. When you're with your partner, you put down the cell phone, turn off the tablet, and focus on them. And when you do that, it touches their heart in a way that really matters. They feel important, loved, and special, like you were intentional in setting aside time just for them.
All right. Fantastic. Sorry, I had to delete this. I don't know what the heck.
I'll make sure it's there.
This creep. Yeah, you're going to delete that?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's already gone.
Gotcha.
Did it go? Yeah. All right.
I see it. But quality time is just that.
I think that's on because that's on Facebook. That's
Oh,
why.
is it on Facebook?
YouTube. I mean.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But quality time is just that. It is quality time.
Yeah.
It is that time where you sit there with someone and it's their undivided attention. This right here, this was not quality time.
Yeah.
When we were reading this. But there's nothing more frustrating when you really want to talk to someone and spend time with them and they are stuck on their phone.
Yeah.
Or they are stuck on their tablet or they're stuck on something. Especially I'll never forget one time when Mike and I were young in our marriage. We went to dinner. We went on a dinner date. I remember we went to Olive Garden. And right as we walked in, a pastor that actually Michael had been waiting to speak to called. And I think it was a long distance call. And so he got on the phone. Well, I think he spent 3/4 of that night at dinner on the phone with this guy. And I remember I was starting to get kind of irritated because I was like, well, this was our time. But of course, when you're married to a pastor, you have to give a lot of forgiveness because there are other people that come in the way. But you've got to remember that if you're taking the time to spend with your spouse, whether it be dinner in a movie, maybe it's a long weekend, maybe it's an anniversary trip, whatever it is, you have got to learn to take your time and spend with them if that is their love language. Because if you do the things and you set up the time, let me tell you, they're excited and they've got that expectation of excitement.
Yeah.
But if you come in and you only pay half attention or a quarter of attention to them, you might as well have just not done anything. It would have been better for you to not do anything because it makes it worse for them.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, in that scenario where you're spending a weekend away, if your love language is quality time, you should not expect your spouse to spend every single moment with you, and focus completely on you. I mean, there's also other things that happen. So there has to be a little bit of forgiveness. But people whose quality time, they really want that time because it makes them, when you focus all of your attention on them, it makes them feel loved.
Yes. I'm glad that's not her love language.
Yeah, Mr. Earbud.
I'm kind of glad because I am the type of person where I have to multitask things. That's just the way my brain works. And if that was her love language, we'd be in
Maybe
trouble.
I've chosen it not to be my love language.
Yeah, that could be it, you know. And love language, this quality time, love language is just as simple, just spending time together, maybe watching a show together. It's not like sitting there staring at each other.
Yes, it is, honey.
You know, it's just watching a show together, sitting down on a couch, you know, watching something TV together, or laughing over something, or maybe doing a puzzle together. Just that special time spent together. Yeah. Intentionally. Okay.
So it also, if your spouse is...
Which I don't remember that time about that dinner at Olive Garden, but okay.
If your spouse is quality time, then you need to figure out what is her kind of quality time or his kind of quality time. Because you may be sitting on the couch with them watching a TV show going, ooh, look at this quality time. But to them, they're going, this isn't quality time.
Yeah.
So figure out what your spouse's quality time is.
All right.
Unfortunately, thanks to technology, quality time with our partners is becoming more and more scarce. Even when we are together, we are someplace else, usually in cyberspace or deep in our own thoughts. But being in close proximity to one another while doing something else does not always constitute quality time, no matter how long you sit there. And for someone whose primary love language is quality time, this lack of connectedness can leave them feeling empty and alone.
Yes. So if I want to spend time and I'm on my computer or on my phone, and I'm like, what? I'm here. I'm spending time with you. That's not quality time.
That's right.
You know, there's a lot of things that distract us from these things. I know, especially when we wake up in the morning, Suzanne and I were usually reading our Bibles and getting in prayer, and that phone gets in the way. You know, where there's times we're like, oh, I want to search this word, and we look up the word and the Bible. Next thing you know, it goes from there to, oh, what is this? Is this email? Whose email is that? Text message? Facebook? You know,
Instagram.
I mean, it's like,
yeah,
it can pull you away. So you need to be very, very careful. You do not let technology take away the quality time you're supposed to have.
That's right. That's right. And how to give your partner quality time. When it comes to speaking your partner's love language, it's important that you do things that will make your partner feel loved and appreciated.
And the way you figure that out is ask.
Yeah.
Ask. Hey, you want to do something now? You want to hang out? You know, what do you want to do? I don't know, just hang out. I don't know, watch a movie. You want to go for a walk? Just that small time.
If your partner's primary love language is quality time, you need to not only set aside time for your partner, but also be intentional about how you are spending that time. If you don't share the same love language as your partner, don't be surprised if these efforts seem a little unnatural at first. With time and effort, though, you'll be doing these things for your partner without a second thought.
Yes.
The following are some ways that you can show your quality time partner that you love them. Number 1, make eye contact. Hello. When it comes to quality time, eye contact is the gateway to loving your quality time partner. In fact, maintaining eye contact tells your partner that they have your full attention, which will make them feel loved, important, and understood. It also communicates that you care about what they have to say. But when you're distracted and scrolling through your phone while your partner talks about their day, they will feel like you just don't care about what they have to say, and by extension, that you just don't care about them.
Yeah.
You know?
That is true.
Very true.
But I want to also add on the other side that if your issue is quality time, or you want to say something to your spouse, because this is an important thing, especially we see in marriages, this one spouse or the other starts telling the other spouse what's going on in their day, and they don't get the other spouse's attention. You know what I mean? So they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, hi, honey, how are you doing? What you doing? And the person may be on their phone concentrating on something or doing something, and they'll talk and talk and talk and talk, and then the other person, they're like, huh? And they'll be like, oh, they get so angry. And why are you getting angry? You didn't tell me you're talking to me. You didn't get my attention. So always quality time in this situation is getting that purpose, having intention to spend time with one another. So quality time people can be just as angry and very jealous if they're not spent concentrating. You know, we've seen it where they don't pay attention. Well, they're like, I didn't even know this was happening or that was happening. So You need to be very intentional when it comes down to quality time.
Right.
Very intentional. Whether you're the one wanting the quality time or you're the one giving the quality time. If a person, like for example, if she's busy doing something and I come in and I just sit down and I'm just watching her do it, I'd be like, what? I just been here an hour watching you do this. Isn't that quality time? She'd be like, no, I'm busy. Yeah. Quality time is spending that moment in intention, focusing, trusting, listening to what they're saying and replying back. And we're going to talk a little bit about active listening skills and things like that. Right. That have to deal with quality time and just that type of thing.
And be aware, because sometimes quality time with your spouse, especially if you're in a relationship where both of you work, maybe like for instance, if mine was quality time and I come home from work and I just want to spend my time and I want to tell Michael all about my day and that's important to me, for me to be able to sit and to share about my day while we were apart from one another. Michael needs to keep it in mind that that's important to me, that when I get home, that's what I want to do, and so he can't think, oh, well, I've got this going on and I'm going to do this and I'm going to be here for an hour and a half. He needs to keep in mind, hey, when my wife comes home every day at 5:30, not that you have to be sitting waiting, but you get the concept. She's going to want to talk to you or he's going to want to talk to you. So keep an idea of schedule and keep an idea of, and just doing that makes them feel loved, like makes them feel like, okay, it's important. I know this is important to you, so I'm going to make it important to me.
Yeah.
All right. Active listening skills. Active listening is one of the most important things you can do for your partner. But for many people, this doesn't come naturally. Instead, most people think about their own thoughts and opinions more than they think about their partners. When quality time people are talking, try the following active listening skills. Focus on what they are saying. Lean in slightly. Affirm what they are saying. Ask thoughtful questions. Avoid trying to offer advice unless they ask for it. And try putting yourself in their shoes and thinking about how you might feel in the same situation.
Yeah, so let's talk about focus on what they're saying. First part, when someone's want to spend some time or you want to talk to someone, active listening is important everywhere, period.
Amen.
Not just spending quality time, but even having any type of relationship, friends, laymen, pastors, etc. We have to talk about focus on what they're saying. What is a person saying? Sometimes I like to talk about like what they're saying by reaffirming what they're saying. Okay,
he's very good at this.
I repeat.
He reiterates.
So what you're saying to me, just because what they're saying and versus what I'm hearing could be two different things.
Right.
So I ask a lot of questions. I ask things like, okay, so what you're saying is this, and they're like, well, no, not really. What I'm saying is this. So let me get this straight. What you're really telling me is this. Is that correct? And they're like, well, yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, then I'll ask. Brings me to the next one. Ask thoughtful questions. Okay, well, why do you feel this way, or what exactly happened? Okay, so give me detail. Sometimes I like if someone's got a problem, I need detail. If someone just wants to throw out a problem, just don't give me detail. It just really depends, right? Sometimes Suzanne just comes up to me and she wants to talk to me about something, and I'm like, okay, and did we get that solved? Okay, great. Like, is there a problem? Yeah. Did you get it solved? Yes. If there's a problem, yeah. Did you get it solved? No. Okay. If the problem's not solved, tell me exactly. I want to know more about how we can resolve the problem, but I need detail. And sometimes active listening may not be just a problem. Maybe just like, okay, that's that lady who works in that department. Okay, did she talk to the customer? Did she, get involved in the story? Sometimes. Is that what you kind of think too?
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, but it is important when somebody's talking to you, and I'm horrible at this. I am the complete opposite. I'm the person they just said not to talk about. I think about responding more than I think about what they're saying. That is how I am. And it's something I try very hard not to be.
That's the thing everybody. Everybody always thinks about how they're going to respond
And then
to the question before they're even,
I'm the worst one to reiterate a story to someone because Michael, like you just said, is a detail person. I'm not I'm like an overview person. I'm like, well, this is kind of what I heard. Well, what exactly did they say? I don't know. This is what I heard. This is what I said. We move on.
Yeah.
So it is important, though, if your spouse is in order to listen, you really have to listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
And this is great advice, to ask questions and to really put yourself in their shoes, because maybe it's not like, there's a lot of things Mike and I talk about that I never think about things. He and I think about things very differently. So there's times I try to put myself in his shoes to try to figure out, okay, why is he thinking this way or feeling this way or communicating, why? So it does do you a lot of good to try to put yourself in their shoes.
Yes, yes.
Quality time partners are more interested in feeling understood. They are looking for empathy and compassion and don't always want to have their situations fixed.
Yeah, sometimes they just want to talk.
So important. And husbands, listen to that. Because husbands, men, you are fixers.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a problem? Let's fix it. I mean, there's times that I've told Michael things and I'm like, I'm not asking you to fix anything. I'm just telling you this is how I feel, or this is the process. I'm processing, And it's important to remember that. Sometimes they just may want to, you know what? I hear you. I understand. You're going to get it. You're going to make it, that encouraging.
I'm like, suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But again, it's about spending quality time. It's really comes back down to. What's that?
You're going to delete that one.
Yeah.
All right. So set limits on technology. Nothing hurts a quality time person more than to share something they feel is really important and then to look up and realize their partner is only half paying attention while trying to answer an email from a coworker or respond to a text. Make it a habit, keep going down. Make it a habit to put your phone at dinner or during a coffee break. Put away your phone during dinner or a coffee break and really focus on what your partner has to say. Even though you may not discuss anything earth-shattering, you're making an important and loving gesture by choosing your partner over technology.
That's right. That's, again, going out to dinner, put your phone on the side, etc. Don't, spend some time, quality time. Now, of course, this is not everyone doesn't have the quality time love language, but everyone wants to have some quality time. Mm-hmm. And things like that, when you're going out to dinner or you're just spending time together for a certain thing on an occasion, putting the phone aside, spending that time, quality time where you're listening to the spouse is very important. Okay.
Amen.
Or friend or whatever it may be.
That's right. All right. When it comes to quality time, it's not about the amount of time you spend together, but instead the quality of your interactions that count. And with so much going on in your life, carving out a few minutes for a meaningful and uninterrupted conversation can be a wonderful way to show the person you love that you care. The key is to take the time to enjoy one another's company, even if it's just sitting on the couch enjoying a cup of coffee before work. Remember, it's not about the quantity of time you spend together, rather the quality.
That's right.
Make a plan. While it never hurts to be spontaneous, planning to do something together can be just as fun and exciting as a last-minute dinner or movie, especially for a quality time partner. It's often too easy for couples to get in a rut after they've been together for a while. Instead of settling for the same old, try making plans. Taking steps to initiate quality time will mean a lot to your partner. Plus, the anticipation of spending time together will really speak love to them.
Yeah, and it could be also quality time is simple. Like, there's times when I have to run an errand, and I'll tell Suzanne, I'll say, hey, you want to go with me? And she's like, where are you going? I said, well, I need to go over here or go over there. And she'd be like, yeah, I guess I'll go with you. And I'll take her with me. Just spending time in the car is quality time.
Right.
We're driving to go wherever we're going. Or, hey, you want to go out to lunch? Did you eat yet? And she's like, no, I didn't eat. Let's go somewhere. I want to go out to lunch. Sometimes I don't want Wally Burger every day, even though it's fantastic. I want to go eat somewhere else, or I want Chinese food or something. We'll go out to Chinese food and spend some time. at a restaurant or doing something together, just out of spontaneous, but it's just spending time.
That's right.
Could you imagine say, hey, you want to go out to lunch? You're like, yeah, and then we go out to lunch and all I'm doing is sitting on my phone, or I'm having conversation on my phone with someone else, or doing something else. No, I'll spend some time and talk to her, and she'll talk to me. It's that type of thing.
That's right. It doesn't matter what you do, just plan something different. A few suggestions. Try the new restaurant in town. Schedule a bike ride on a Saturday morning. Don't do that. Get up early? No, thank you. Plan a leisurely walk along the riverbank after work. Remember, just because time together is expected when people have been together. Okay, hold on. Remember, just because spending time together is expected when people have been together a while doesn't mean you cannot also be intentional about how you spend your time. Very true. It is. We've been married 21 years. It is very easy to get into a rut. It's, oh, okay, we're going to go out to get dinner together. Where are we going to go? Oh, this is where we go. This is what we do. It's fun to do. I mean, it's not, if quality time is truly your gift, you don't really care where you are, but it is important to mix it up a little, to do something a little bit different. Go to the other side of town, go to, someplace you've never been before. Mix it up a little bit. It makes it a little more fun.
That's right.
Develop a routine. Look for small ways to connect with your partner on a daily basis. For instance, you could pray or meditate together every morning, or read the Sunday funnies together each week. Finding a small way to regularly connect will help your quality time partner feel fulfilled and appreciated. Plus, it's something you can both look forward to doing together. Be present and available. When your partner is seeming insecure or going through a tough time, you can really show you care by simply being there and spending some quality time together. Even though you won't be able to take all the discomfort away, nor should you be expected to, you'll be able to demonstrate that you are present and available when they need you.
That's right.
Stay in the moment. For most people whose primary love language is quality time, they never lose sight of the fact that time is limited and tomorrow is never promised. As a result, they view time together as a priceless gift that they want to give and receive in relationships. To them, life is about being in the moment more than it is about what you are doing. It's also about prioritizing people you love over everything else.
That's right.
And then get creative. Everyone has days where their to-do list is a mile long. Rather than run all your errands by yourself, invite your quality time partner to come along. Even though you're doing something mundane and boring, you can sneak in some quality time.
That's true.
So smart.
Again, driving, running an errand. Hey, I'm going to go to the store. You want to go with me? Hey, I just need to stop by. Sometimes I want to go to the restaurant or to the church. Hey, I'm going over to the restaurant. You want to go? I just need to go pick up something or drop off something. Say, I'll go. You want to go? Sometimes she has to go pick up, Anna from her basketball practice. I'll be like, where are you going? I'm going to go pick up Anna. I'll go with you. That's ways to just be together,
right.
Doing nothing, but just driving, but
right.
We're just being together, spending quality time together, okay?
Making chit-chat, having conversation, just being together.
Yep.
It goes a long way. It doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be something.
Yeah.
Turn off the radio, talk to one another. Ask how your partner's life is going and what is stressing them out right now. You can turn up just about any activity into a chance to sneak in some quality time if you are creative. Now, with that said, let me say, sometimes when people are married a long time, you kind of feel like, okay, what am I? Okay, yep, how was your day? Yep, still flipping burgers at Wally Burger? Yep, still this, still, I know I've seen they have like conversations cards. And I'm not telling you to carry around conversation cards, but there's some of them that have some very cool questions, that you can ask your partner or ask your spouse. And, not that I'm saying carrying around, but maybe read them and then, kind of think about them and, hey, what if, blah, 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 and sometimes just opening up one conversation will just branch out and send you in 1,000 different directions. Sometimes playing just a stupid game on your phone, like we've played on our phone. What is that game? I can't think of it. But it starts asking you questions.
Oh.
You know, would you do this or would you do this?
Rather?
Like a would you rather kind of a thing. You know, and sometimes just doing something like that is fun, you know? And you go, really? You would choose that over this? And then it brings them to a whole nother conversation. So if you're not really great at conversation...
Or a big fight.
Right, yeah, right? If you're not great at conversation, I mean, because even with your spouse, sometimes maybe you're not. Look at little questions, like questions for couples, you know? Think about little questions you could ask one another. Because sometimes it takes just that little question to really, to make it go.
Amen.
So common mistakes to avoid. At times it can be hard to communicate love to your partner through quality time, especially if it's not your primary love language. But you'll eventually get the hang of it. The key to avoid a few of these common mistakes. Don't complain about the time you spend together. Talk about a withdrawal in the love bank.
Yeah.
Big time.
I have this friend of ours. I'm not going to say his name, but boy. I love the brother, but
I'm really trying to... I'm going to figure out who you're talking about.
Every time we hang out, he talks about, like, he has no one to hang out with, you know? And whenever we hang out, majority of the conversation is about, not that we're hanging out, but that he's got no one to hang out with. And there's no one. And no one ever hangs out with him. I'm like, well, we're hanging out with now. Hello, we're together now. We're hanging out now. Like, he's always got no friend. I have no friends. And I'm like, what am I, chopped liver? You know, I mean, aren't we hanging out? So you can don't get to the time where like, well, I'm glad we're hanging out together, honey. I mean, because you don't never hang out with me. You're never around with me, you know? I mean, I want to hang out with you, and you're always never hanging out. You're never spending time. That's not, you know.
Well,
so you can't do that.
Not only that complaining, but like, you can also, especially in a husband and wife situation, be like, well, I was going to go to, you know, I was invited to this event, but I couldn't go because I already promised that I would take you over here.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't do that.
Fine, then we'll go.
Fine, we're going to go over here.
I'm doing this for you.
I already said that.
Yeah.
Believe me, you've popped the balloon. There is nothing left in there. You might as well leave her at home and go do what you wanted to do anyways, because that is not beneficial or helpful in any way.
Yeah.
Resist the urge to do something else while your partner is talking.
Mm-hmm.
I think self-explanatory.
Yep.
Don't view your quality time partner as needy.
All right, here we are, spending time again. All right.
That's
what
right.
do you want to do this time? What do you want to do this time?
That's right.
We're always doing everything you want to do. What about my thing, okay? That type of thing. Be careful.
Keep your technology stowed away when you have time planned together.
That's right.
So important.
Again.
Especially in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to ask what your partner needs in order to feel loved.
Communication.
That's exactly what it is. It is communication.
Communicate with your partner.
That's right. When it comes to the love language of quality time, most people assume it means spending a lot of time together or going out a lot. If that weren't the case, trying to show your partner you care through quality time could be exhausting and expensive.
That's right.
But a loving partner who craves quality time actually has very little to do with the amount of time you are together. It's also not based on activities. Quality time is all about how you spend the time that you have together, no matter what you are doing. If you are attentive and focused, your partner will feel loved.
That's right.
You know, remember, it is the little things. I know there was a time in our life when things were, I don't know, just busy and kind of crazy and hectic, and probably 3 or 4 nights out of the week, Mike and I, by ourselves, would just go out and we'd walk up the street about half a mile together to the Circle K and back.
Yeah.
And we'd probably do that, I would say, like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
There for, I'd say a couple of months, because it was
to
just
walk
something,
and talk.
It just was something we needed. It was something we needed to do. And it was nice to be able, we didn't go far. We held hands. We talked. We would walk up to the Circle K. Sometimes we get a drink, sometimes not, or, and then we just walk back. And it was just enough of that time together that it just really filled the cup.
I always like to give that type of advice, which I would like to use sometimes, and I want to help others, and I wish I could use it more when I think about it. Now that I'm thinking about it, sometimes men have a big problem of sitting still and listening. Okay, go ahead. What do you want to say to me? Go ahead, talk to me, or something. But sometimes walking and talking is the best, because when you're walking, you can't be on your phone. You can't really, you know what I mean? You're not supposed to be on your phone when you can walk. But it just walking allows someone to talk and you to walk, and you avoid any of the odd eye contact, facial gestures, or whatever it is, that someone can just talk and walk down the street or down the block or around the block or whatever it is, where you're just talking. So what's on your mind, and we're talking, and we just talk. The other person can hear and listen and feel like they can listen,
right?
Without feeling like they have to do something else. And then on walking, keeps your attention away from everything else. Nothing can take your attention away, because you're walking and you're talking, or you're walking and you're listening, but you still feel like you're being active versus just sitting there going, all right, what do you have to say?
You would never be a good therapist.
You know what I mean? What do you have to say to me? I'm not a good therapist. I got a problem solving. I can solve problems, but I'm like, okay.
To have to sit and listen to somebody for 45 minutes?
Yeah. So walking and talking is a fantastic, fantastic way to tell, to be able to converse with one another,
and
walking around and to get quality time together.
That's right.
Walking and talking, and having that quality time. We just might do that tonight. Well, no, it's too late now. But anyway, great thing on quality time. Great gift. Figure out what it is. Somebody says, somebody may say, well, my quality, my what do you call it? Love language is not to have quality time. I just want to be alone, be careful with that. I mean, I understand there's somebody who likes, man, I just want to be alone. I just want to come home. I just want to rest, and just be away from everybody, and just like I've had everybody in my mind. I just want to rest. That's fine and dandy, but be careful. Make sure that you understand what your spouse's love language is, and especially if it's quality time, especially right. Kids.
Well, and it's not,
kids, quality
it's
time.
not a bad thing to want to spend time alone.
Yeah.
But you can't, if your spouse is quality time, you cannot expect to come home and to just have time by yourself. Yeah. Because that definitely says, I don't love you. Yeah. I don't care about you. I don't care that you need, to just acknowledge the time, and then to be like, okay, I'm going to come over here for a little bit and just detox.
Yes.
Because I think everybody has that time they need to detox. I do. On days that I've been busy or I've run. There's times I just go to my room when Michael's not home, before he gets home from work, and the kids, I try to, they're busy, and I just sit. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's interfering with your spouse, then there is something wrong with that.
Amen. Well, I hope this helps you. We're going to go back into love languages. We got one last love language that we're going to do probably next couple weeks. It's called physical touch. Again, go into the 5 love languages.
Right.
Try to figure out what your love language is. Right. Share that with your spouse. The book is available. I think, where'd you get this book from?
I got it at Walmart.
Oh,
yeah.
How much was it?
I want to say $11.
$11.
$11 or $12.
$11 from Walmart.
I know we used to have it, and I don't know what happened to it.
So you got one there. So excellent. Go through the book, and then on top of that, go through the website, figure out what your love language is. I hope this helps you. God bless you.
God bless you.